I've always been fascinated by the River Thames. It runs right through the place where I was born, London, where my family have lived for 300 years.
As a teenager, I worked in the docks.
You wouldn't recognise it. Not one of these buildings was here.
It's the river that built Britain.
Now I'm going to get to know it even more intimately to find out what makes this one of the greatest rivers in the world.
I'm following it from source to sea along the Thames Path National Trail, Europe's longest riverside walk.
Is that water?
From its humble beginnings in Gloucestershire...
I could look at it for hours.
...to down river.
Would the boats come down on this?
Yeah.
Where I learn how we tamed the Thames.
It would have been chaos, wouldn't it?
It would.
For trade...
Wow! This is all sugar. It's like the pyramids.
And pleasure.
You can really imagine, can't you, being Victorian, leaving work on Friday afternoon, getting back after lunch on the Monday.
I'll meet people whose lives revolve around the Thames.
I'm a porter, Tony, fish porter, man and boy.
I think we'll make a boat builder out of you yet, Tony.
Yeah, sure.
And over the course of my 200-mile journey, I'll witness an extraordinary transformation. From a trickle in a field to the lifeblood of our capital.
Money, 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 money everywhere.
And finally, how it becomes a magnificent giant as it merges with the sea. Join me, Tony Robinson, walking the Thames.
I'm a little bit stymied here. I think I'm in the right field. Look, it says there, the source of the River Thames, and underneath in brackets, spring. But I can't see anything other than green grass and dandelions.
The source is not what I imagined.
I'm in the next field now. There is something kind of grey and square there. Can you see it? That could be an inscription. Oh, yes. It's definitely something. It's almost impossible to read what it says. This stone was something, 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 source of the River Thames. That's it, isn't it? Here we are, Thames Barrier, London, 184 miles, 294 kilometres. But it is a bit of an anticlimax, because look, source of the Thames, no water whatsoever. But I would like to find a sort of wet source of the Thames.
300 years ago, there was usually a stream here. But with a growing population, industry and agriculture, all extracting water from the layers of limestone below, it now only flows in the wettest winters. But about a mile away, there is a more reliable source.
Is that water? Oh, yes. It's a bit more promising. Look at this. Lidwell. That's a proper source of a river, isn't it? It's so satisfying, isn't it? I could look at it for hours. Certainly the Anglo-Saxons were aware of this place and the Bronze Age people, as well as the Romans.
In past centuries, it was common to leave offerings in the river because it was believed to have spiritual or mystical powers. The Romans seem to have been particularly keen on the practice.
They take something that meant something to them, a sword or a badge or a brooch or something, break it and put it in. So I thought I would do something similar, asking for good luck on my journey. This is a spoon that was among the things that I got when my mum died. And I remember it vividly from when I was a kid, eating the old boiled egg from it. So I'm sacrificing it.
I was thinking of chucking it in, but it probably isn't very good form to clutter the river.
I'm going to bury it, but I'm not going to bury it right here because someone will only come and dig it up. I'm not going to tell you where.
With the spoon sorted and water found, my walk can begin. The first leg of my journey takes me from the source, close to Kemble near Cirencester, through a little changed landscape of Cotswold villages and historic trading towns to the dreaming spires of Oxford, about 50 miles away. I'm following the infant River Thames. Right now, it's hard to believe it's had such an influence on Britain. But within a few miles, the trickle has already grown to a fast-flowing stream.
On its journey to London, the River Thames travels at between 2.5 and 3 miles an hour. So by my calculations, it should be going through the Thames barrier. There he goes, in just 3 days.
There's no way I can keep up with that stick. It takes even seasoned walkers around 12 days to reach London. The first village on the river is Ashton Keynes, south of Cirencester. It's best known for the 16 bridges that straddle the Thames to access houses on the main street. And it's got some reminders of a violent past.
It's a 14th century cross that had its head whipped off by Cromwell's men during the English Civil War.
The puritanical Roundheads deplored symbols of Catholicism, and 4 crosses in the village suffered at their hands.
I can see why they would have wanted to put a brick through stained glass window in a cathedral, because they hated Catholic iconography, but just to take the top off that seems a bit rubbish, really.
The Thames here was powerful enough to power a watermill. The Domesday Book records one in 1086. That made the village more important than average. But it never grew into a town because the river is too shallow for boats to trade here. That's why the heart of Ashton Keynes has remained largely unchanged for centuries. These images were taken over 100 years ago.
And going round, there we are. It really hasn't changed much. There's a phone box and a car. That's about all the differences are.
Local historians believe postcards like these were sent to soldiers fighting in the trenches of the First World War to remind them of England and what they were fighting for.
This is the quintessential English village, isn't it? You half expect a load of Disney peasant women to leap out and start singing a song.
In these upper stretches of the Thames, you can clearly see the river's floodplain in its original natural state. In long periods of wet weather, it's normal for the Thames to overflow its banks, and because the surrounding meadows haven't been built on, they can absorb the water rather like a giant sponge.
When it's tipping down with rain like it is now, it's important to know how fast the river's flowing, whether it's flooding, whether its banks are being eroded, in order to protect the villages and towns along the Thames. So I'm about to meet a group of hydrologists who know that sort of thing and are using the most modern tech in order to understand the river.
Downriver, where many of the meadows like these have been built on, there's less capacity to absorb water that overflows the river banks, leaving homes and businesses at risk of flooding with potentially devastating effects. Work to prevent that is the responsibility of Environment Agency scientists like Nick Everard.
Oh, terrible old weather today, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, well, this is job security for us. Without the rain, we wouldn't have a job.
And what is it you do?
We're trying to understand the total flow rate of the river so that we can understand how to balance the flow of water down the river for water supply, for agriculture, for the environment and ecology. And in times of high flow, we need to manage flooding and understand where to put flood defences, but also forecast and understand the magnitude of future events we might have.
To help achieve all this, the scientists use an acoustic radio-controlled boat with an onboard sensor to detect water depth and speed. The agency also monitors water quality, and Rachel Lechlade is testing for indicators of rural pollution, such as sewage, slurry and fertiliser.
We can measure the temperature of the water, the conductivity, the pH, and also the ammonium.
That's the poo and the pee, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
that is. So human waste or agricultural waste, it helps us to see the quality of the water.
And it's taking a reading right now?
It is. Would you like me to get some data up for you? So here, each line represents a different parameter.
What's that spike there?
This is turbidity. So
In
this is
what?
Turbidity. If you have quite heavy rainfall, it can stir up lots of the dissolved organic material. And
Like
turn
what,
being-
mud?
Yeah, mud, whatever's being kicked up in the water. The orange line here is the ammonium, like you mentioned earlier.
The poo and the pee.
Exactly. And then you've got the blue line. This is a nice dissolved oxygen. If you start to see levels dipping down quite low, that can cause fish kills. And you can see that's reading 97.3%.
We've got a healthy river.
We do indeed.
Just along the bank, the sensor on the boat has now relayed its data back to Nick.
We finished the measurement and we can see how much water is going down the river.
Yeah.
It's 15,000 litres a second. Put another way, it's 15 tonnes of water every second. In the summer, this can get as low as 1, but in a flood, it can get up to about 80.
So essentially everything's under control.
Everything is under control. The river's behaving exactly as we'd like it to, so everything is good.
It's good news today, but the Thames has the most densely populated river basin in the UK, with 13 million residents, so continued monitoring is vital. That boat's a real asset.
Is it particularly complex to operate?
It's very simple, so simple that, dare I say, you could have a go yourself if you'd like
It would have to be very simple.
It
for me
is,
to
believe
have.
me.
All right. I haven't done one of these before.
This one is power, so forward makes the boat go forward, backwards makes it go backwards, and this one is steering with rudders. And you get the idea, it's very, very easy to drive, and that's a beautiful circle you've just driven on the Thames to prove the point. And
Well,
you've just discovered the boat can go quite fast.
It
as well.
can, can't it?
So do you want to give it a top speed run?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
get it pointed straight up river, and then push that one all the way forward.
Whoa! Go, my son! Go,
Now
my
we'll just
son!
steer it a little way away from the bank.
I love your nervous laugh.
Yeah, you know, it's not that cheap, the boat that's out there.
How much did it cost?
The boat is about £15,000, and the sensor on it is rather more than that.
It turns out I'm driving 40 grand's worth of kit.
Let's come back towards us.
Which one do I push to get
My
it
laugh
back?
is getting more nervous by the minute, isn't it? But shall I bring it back, and then you can take
I
control
can do
of it?
this.
Oh,
And then now
determined man. Now,
forward
forward on that one.
forward.
And is it just... Yeah, it looks as though you knew exactly what you're doing.
I did. Oh, that was great. It actually made a rainy day very fun.
Oh, good.
Thank
and
you
the
both.
rain's even stopped. The sun's trying to come out. Look at that. What a joy.
We'll go back in any moment.
Coming up, my walk stumbles into hostile territory,
I'm a friend! I'm a friend!
and a fishing trip
Champione.
turns bizarre.
Bob has actually taken photographs of me in the nude.
I have,
right?
I'm afraid. Yeah.
I'm following the mighty Thames from its source right down to the sea. I'm now about 23 miles downriver near the town of Lechlade, a significant point on my journey.
This is the Thames, of course, but over there, beyond that weeping willow, is its tributary, the Colne,
It's one of 38 main tributaries along the length of the river.
and where the Colne joins it, suddenly the river gets much bigger. In fact, this is the official start of motorised navigation on the Thames. And what that means is that for the last few hours, I've seen virtually nobody, but up ahead, there'll be loads of people.
This now bigger Thames makes Lechlade the furthest large boats can travel upriver, so it's a busy spot. In the past, it helped the town grow through trade as a gateway for goods moving between the Cotswolds and London.
So the plan is I meet up with a bloke called Bob and blag a lift down the next stretch of the river.
Bob Ring is one of a handful of licensed crayfish trappers. We're meeting at St John's Lock, the first of 45 between here and London.
Excuse me, are you Bob?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Tony.
Hello,
Is it
Tony.
okay if I do the next leg of my journey with you?
Yeah, of course.
that
Yes,
all right?
hop on.
I think old Father Thames is rooting for me. He was originally commissioned for the Crystal Palace, but he's been here since 1974. In return for catching a lift with Bob,
Going down.
I'm expected to do a little grafting.
Get off.
There we go.
Yeah.
The original lock on this site was built in 1790, part of a series of works that allowed larger boats to navigate up the Thames, making the river the trade superhighway of its time.
It used to be incredibly busy years and years ago. From Lechlade, you could go all the way down to London. But in the late 18th century, they built the Thames and Severn Canal, which came through into here. And once you'd got that, then you could also go east-west, right down as far as Bristol, which meant there was loads of traffic coming here. You got, oh, excuse me, you got, you got cheese and you got wool and you got stone. Well, the stone that actually built St Paul's Cathedral came down here. Hugely busy. You'd never think it now, would you?
From the mid-1800s, the coming of the railways made boat transport of cargo ever less financially viable. That's not to say no one makes a living from the river anymore. Bob does it by catching American signal crayfish. The species was introduced to the UK in the 1970s to be farmed for food, but many escaped into the wild. Only later was it discovered they're carriers of a plague fatal to native crayfish.
Of course, there they are wandering around completely immune to the thing they carry, but all our native ones are falling over.
On the Thames, the problem is currently so severe, it's thought native crayfish have declined by over 95%.
These you've pulled out of the river?
Yep.
And these are American?
These are American signal.
What does the signal mean?
It refers to they've got these sort of white knuckles, and it's seen that they're sort of almost signalling to each other.
So when that one's waving
whatever.
its little claw now,
Yeah.
it's showing us the little white flash.
He is, or he's doing,
Signalling.
making some sort of gesture anyway.
Some sort of gesture indeed.
Bob does crayfish removal to try to keep the pests under control, and he's developed a niche market, selling some of the catch to restaurants and making dishes such as Louisiana gumbo for events and festivals.
I do the gumbo at Glastonbury, right?
Do
That's
you?
a big seller. I was the Sustainable Trader of the Year in 2014.
Hey!
They always give me a bit
The
of
Glastonbury Sustainable Trader
That's right.
of the Year.
Something's been bugging me, and as we set off to check the traps set last night, the penny drops.
I didn't realise this, but this is absolutely true. I didn't recognise Bob, but we had known each other 30 years ago. He used to be a publicity photographer. I worked on a very rude show called Who Dares Wins, and Bob has actually taken photographs of me in the nude.
I have,
right?
I'm afraid. Yeah, I think the ad might have originally been Pure Genius.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a parody of that ad. Well, I'm glad I've shared that with you.
Anyway, back to business.
Underneath the water, there would be crayfish.
There will be crayfish. It is a little early season, so not all of them are out and about.
Bob's baited his pots with mackerel, so fingers crossed.
Nope, not a thing.
Nothing, yeah.
Typical. There must be millions of the little blighters, but they're camera shy.
Ah, right, at last.
Yay! Results! So many times over the years I've done this. Let's go out and see if we can catch something. You never do, but triumph. Championes, championes, oh, oh, oh.
Back on the boat, we cook up Bob's signature dish of crayfish gumbo, a mix of crayfish, spicy sausage, spuds and corn on the cob. With butter, extra spice and a jolly good mixing in the slightly unorthodox serving bowl, our boat cuisine is ready.
It doesn't look incredibly appetising. It looks like
Does it
what's
not?
left over at the end of a tsunami.
I think you find it's pretty tasty, though.
I'll be the judge of that.
Nice enough.
Yes.
No, very nice.
As well.
Unexpected free meal from the Thames. Not that the sweet corn and the potatoes grew in the Thames, but you know what I mean. That's quite blowy now, isn't it?
Picked up a bit.
Cheers, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Tony. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, lovely to see you after 30 years.
See you later.
As I head east along the path, it's increasingly clear crayfish aren't the only invaders to cause worry along the Thames. Ever since leaving Lechlade, I've been seeing these fortified guard posts, evidence of the river's strategic importance.
I've got to the part of the Thames where there are a lot of pillboxes around. In fact, along here, there's one every half mile. And that is because in the Second World War, if the Germans had invaded by land, then the Thames was going to be the line of defence to stop them getting to the Midlands and the north.
In the summer of 1940, after the evacuation from Dunkirk, the threat of a German invasion became very real. If Britain's coastal defences failed, Stop Line Red, following the Thames, was to be part of a series of defensive stop lines that would at least prevent Rommel's panzer divisions advancing into our industrial heartland to the north.
I've got a rendezvous with a bunch of people who know quite a lot about those defences, although they're not here yet, which is odd because I was supposed to see them at 1600 hours and it's now... Good Lord.
Bill King and his reenactors honour the memory of the men who defended this area with displays each summer.
I'm a friend! I'm a friend! Oh, Bill, you saved me from a terrible fate. Can we go and have a look at these guys? Who were they? Who would they have been?
We're now looking at members of the Oxfordshire Home Guard.
Dad's army poked fun at the Home Guard, but in reality they had a deadly serious mission: to hinder a German invasion. Men with crucial civilian jobs, or those too young or old for the regular forces, could volunteer, and by July 1940, 1.5 million had done so.
These two have got different coloured hats on.
These two are Upper Thames Patrol. The patrol was formed prior to the Home Guard, so these two have got seniority over the others from that point of view.
And what was their job?
To look after the river, to make sure that the locks and the weirs are protected and not sabotaged.
If the Germans had invaded, what would they have had to do?
Oh, literally, this was going to be the last ditch, the defence. And so the pillboxes would have been hard points, but their task literally would have been to blow the bridges. If the enemy are coming from the south, their job is to prevent them from crossing the river.
As well as blowing up the bridges, the brief was to open the weirs and locks so the surrounding land would flood and bog down a mechanised invasion.
Who would have built the pillboxes? Would it have been guys like this?
Oh no, these were all done by either civilian contractors or by Royal Pioneer Corps. It was done in about 6 to 8 weeks.
How many did they make in 6 to 8 weeks?
About 5,000.
Wow, it must have been frenzy.
It was.
But they were never used because the Germans didn't invade.
The Battle of Britain took place. The enemy never got air superiority, and as a consequence, they were never able to cross the channel.
But these guys would have stopped them, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Fine body of men.
Shall we put them through their paces?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think so.
Upper Thames, stand fast. Oxfordshire Home Guard. Fix! Bayonets. Attention!
It's a couple of bits slow behind you, but by and large you were pretty impressive. I do notice one thing, Corporal. One of your Home Guard has an earring.
I got to say that this morning.
Well, thank you ever so much for coming out. And Bill, thanks for all that information. How far is Radcott?
2 miles straight downstream.
Right, well, that's where I'm going now.
Good luck.
Cheers, see you.
Coming up...
Oh, wow, loads of them.
Restoring the river calls for some fishy business.
You're gone, my son. Hey, he's gone.
Taking a toll turns out to be fun.
Thank you.
And lucrative.
Don't shake my hand, take my money.
OK. And a green electricity scheme gives me a shock.
Ow, it's like torture. It's like being a bit of cheese on a grater.
In my journey along the length of the Thames, I'm looking at a river that's dramatically different from the one I grew up with.
Here on the upper reaches of the Thames, it's peaceful, undisturbed. The river looks lovely. In fact, the Thames is cleaner now than it has been at any time in the last 500 years.
When I was a kid in London in the 1950s, the lower reaches of the river were polluted by industry and wartime damage to the sewers. Bacteria in sewage use the oxygen in water, leaving little for other life forms. By 1957, the water quality was so bad, the Natural History Museum declared London's river biologically dead. Today I'm back with the Environment Agency, which has achieved a massive turnaround, cleaning up the whole length of the river.
Hi.
Morning.
What are you doing, guys?
Oh, Rab's come from our fish farm at Calverton to stop some fish in the Thames for us.
Stuart Mannering's releasing 1,200 chub and barbel to boost the fish population and ensure there are enough for anglers, whose licence fees help pay for this work.
If you want to hop up and have a look,
Yeah, sure.
Rab will fish a few out for you, see what we've got.
Oh, wow, loads of them.
So these are the chub.
How old are they?
So these are a year old. And then round the other side, I think we've got some barbel.
These are a little bit bigger, so they might splash.
Oh, yeah, they're big boys, aren't they?
With so many fish to release, I'm going to get togged up to lend a hand. As an actor, I'm used to costume changes, but this is way more strenuous.
Come on. Come on.
Worrying,
Hope I don't need a pee.
and deeply unflattering.
Tweedledum. Off I go.
First up for release are some chub. They're just part of around 20,000 fish the agency releases each year into the Thames.
The key is finding a nice, easy spot to get down to the river. Nice, gentle banks.
Easy access here.
Yeah.
Peak time for release is winter and spring, when the water temperature in the Thames roughly matches the cool temperatures at the farm where the fish were raised.
All right, you
So
ready?
we gently drop them in.
Freedom.
There they go.
Do they seem to adapt pretty well to the wild, or do you find loads of them belly up in a couple of days?
Oh, they're gone. And they're shooting off to find the new niches to live in.
Stuart and his colleagues work with farmers, landowners and fishing clubs to improve river habitats so the fish population can become more self-sustaining.
Blimey! It's all right, don't panic. You're going in the water.
The chub should start reproducing once they're about 4 or 5 years old, and these barbel at 3 or 4.
So any like these guys will be 600 millimetres long in 10 years, weighing 10, 12 pounds.
Those actually are called barbels, aren't they, those things sticking from its mouth?
Yeah, that's what it's using to rummage around in all the sediment and the sand, looking for invertebrates. And these are sensitive feelers.
Beautiful fish. I won't leave him
are.
out of the water anymore. Go on, my son. Oh, hey, he's gone. There were barbel in this river in medieval times, weren't they? You see them written about in the documents.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, the Thames was very different back then.
Happily, things seem to be coming full circle. There are around 125 species of fish along the Thames now. And a healthier river has drawn back other wildlife, such as otters and even seals in the lower reaches.
It's so unlike that vision of the Thames that I used to have as a child, of a place where the river was virtually black.
The chronic pollution in the Thames, hopefully those days are done now.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Old Father Thames keeps rolling along.
It does.
Oh, my feet are stuck in his hand.
Having extracted myself from the mud, there's a peaceful 16 miles to my next stop.
Walking along a river mile after mile, you tend not to see anything particularly dramatic. So when you're confronted with something like that, you go, oh, well, look at that engineering, see the light bouncing off the stone. And in fact, that bridge, Swinford, is very interesting because it's one of only 2 toll bridges on the whole of the River Thames. I suppose there's the Dartford crossing, but I'm not sure that counts.
Before the bridge was built, there was just a ferry. The story goes that King George III received a right royal dunking after his carriage slipped off the ferry and into the river. He was not amused and got the Earl of Abingdon to foot the bill for a bridge. In return, the Earl got the rights to collect tolls entirely tax-free forever. Sounds like something I should try.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Tax-free for life, that's not bad, is it? backed up. No wonder that when the bridge was sold in 2009, thank you, it went for £1 million. I mean, think about it, 5p for a car, 20p for a bus up. I reckon I must have made £1.40 in the time it's taken to tell you that.
It may roll in fast, but I've got to hand it over.
Thank you.
The bridge has a toll house, and in it lives the manager, Paul Batty.
Don't shake my hand, take my money.
OK, well done then.
The house comes complete with this idyllic garden.
Which side are you going to sit? Let's get the
How much do we do? Look at
money. That's not bad, is it?
10 minutes work.
How long do you reckon they've been tollmen here?
The bridge opened August 1769, and they've been collecting tolls ever since. Under the original Act of Parliament, which I've got a copy of here, for the Earl of Abingdon.
And it was tax-free.
A very clever wording that was put into the original Act that said forever.
The Act details the price for anything to cross the bridge.
Any carriage with 4 wheels, the sum of 4p. With less than 4 wheels, the sum of 2p. For every horse, mare, gelding, mule or ass, laden or unladen, drawing or not drawing, the sum of 1 penny. For every ox, blah, blah, every sheep, every lamb. I mean, it's really detailed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Charges can only be raised by Act of Parliament, which they were in 1994 to help cover the cost of maintenance. But if you don't want to cough up, there's an alternative.
We close at 9 p.m. at night, so it's all free at night.
Do you ever get people waiting at 8:55?
On a Wednesday, my friend, he waits till 9 o'clock before he comes down to it.
So far, my journey following the Thames from source to sea has covered 47 miles to Swinford Bridge. From here, it's only about 6 miles to Oxford. Before the hurly-burly of the city, there's a haven for wildlife in the ancient woodland at Witham Woods, which borders the path. It belongs to Oxford University, and the habitats here have been studied since the 1920s, giving real insights into conservation in a changing world. Further on, just to the west of the city centre, there's another project that's all about creating a more sustainable future.
I love the way that bits of our natural environment are used for virtually the same function for hundreds of years. So an Iron Age hill fort becomes a Norman castle, a Roman temple becomes a church, and 850 years ago, right here, the monks of Osney Abbey built a water wheel, and they're still harnessing the power of the river here today.
The Osney Loch Hydro generates hydroelectric power from the Thames, supplying green energy to the national grid.
Hi, Saskia.
Hi.
Can I get in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Saskia Huggins is one of the team which runs it.
Welcome to Osney Loch Hydro.
Thank you. Come and have a look. This is basically a pretty small building with a great big screw running through it, isn't it?
That pretty much sums it up, yeah. If we get closer, we can see what's going on.
I wasn't wrong, was I? It really is a big screw in a small box.
Absolutely massive.
This giant 11-ton hunk of metal is being turned by the force of the river to create electricity. It has 4 blades and it's over 4 metres long.
It's actually a really ancient technology.
Archimedes screw.
Yeah, it's exactly the same technology.
The Archimedes screw, supposedly invented by the ancient Greek scientist, is a method to lift water up, for example to pump out a ship's hold. It uses a source of energy, such as men or oxen, to turn a screw. The screw forces the water up to where it's needed. At the hydro, that principle is used in reverse to create energy.
Instead of us putting power in to turn the water up, we're using the power of the water to turn the screw, which we're then turning into electricity.
At this point on the Thames, tributary rivers such as the Churn and the Windrush, as well as the Colne, have all joined, boosting the volume of water. There can be up to 50,000 litres per second flowing through, but it varies dramatically.
So here you really get to appreciate the force of the water as it's flowing over this point of the river.
It's a real gush, isn't it?
This is a community project. The lion's share of the start-up costs was funded by local people. Yet in an average year, it generates the equivalent of enough electricity for 55 homes. Osney Island resident Dr. Barbara Hammond has been heavily involved.
You were actually there at the start of this project, weren't you?
Yeah, way back in 2001, we asked the community on Osney Island whether they wanted local renewables, and they all came back and said, well, we want hydro at the weir.
Will it actually generate more money than it costs?
Yeah.
This project is a 40-year project, but over its lifetime it should raise well over £1 million for a local environmental project.
The hydro's been running since 2015, and it could be a blueprint for similar projects elsewhere on the Thames. This one relies on daily maintenance by volunteers.
We have a trash screen to stop big things going into the screw and breaking the screw, and we have to keep that trash screen clear in order to keep the power output at its optimum for the river conditions.
I'm getting a funny feeling where this is heading.
And we haven't cleared the trash screen yet, so we were wondering if you might like to help.
Thought so.
The great thing about being in show business is the exotic jobs you get asked to do. I'm going to clear the trash screen.
There's some rather fetching safety gear to don. And a choice of tools.
Which would you like?
I rather like this because it's more medieval.
Yeah.
I've no idea why I need a yoga mat.
Yeah, really good.
But the ladies seem suspiciously cheerful.
Ow, it's quite sharp, isn't it?
It's all designed to be non-slip.
Yeah.
Not great for your knees.
Typical male reaction. I thought, I don't need a mat, that's a bit girly, but it's like torture. It's like being a bit of cheese on a grater.
While they watch in comfort, I have the joyous task of hooking debris away from the screen so it's harmlessly swept clear of the screw.
It's a great workout.
Do you ever get really big things caught in this?
We had a really disgusting thing last week. It was a dead sheep.
Oh, you're joking.
No.
There we go.
Hey.
Oh, it's going back in again. Get away.
I'm really admiring this thoroughness.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
I feel you're patronising me slightly.
What we're trying to do, Tony, is keep the water level across the trash screen.
Yeah.
So it's beautifully level now, so thank you.
Don't call me if there's another sheep, will you?
Twigs I can handle, but before anything nasty floats my way,
Lovely to meet you both.
I'm going to bid farewell.
Thanks so much for your help.
Power to the people.
Bye then. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Coming up,
Oh, I'm stuck in the tree.
the working boats that became a favourite for Victorians at leisure and a challenge for me.
We're going down the river very efficiently, although sideways.
I'm walking the Thames from source to sea. At the end of this first leg, I've reached central Oxford. The Abbess St Fride's founded a monastery here close to the river. The origins of the university are hard to pinpoint, but by the 12th century, the presence of several monastic houses in and around Oxford made it a gathering place for learned men.
Oxford is built on a lot of little islands where the Cherwell meets the Thames. That's why you've got all these waterways winding their way throughout it.
The Thames helped the city grow. Stone to create some of its finest buildings came downriver from the Cotswolds, and paper came upriver from London to supply the Oxford University Press.
But where you've got waterways, you need a means to get round them, hence the punt.
These flat-bottomed boats were just the thing for workaday jobs such as carrying small cargoes, ferrying people, or fishing.
But what in previous centuries was the utilitarian white van that everybody used, by the end of the 19th century, it was the craft of choice for the leisure classes.
Like one of them, I fancy enjoying the views. My guide is Simon Wenham.
Hi, Simon.
Hello, good to meet you.
And you.
He's got a doctorate in the history of Oxford boating.
If I stay in the middle, will I be all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, this is all right, isn't it? Thank you very much.
From the mid-19th century, the city's relationship with its river shifted from business to leisure. The Salter Brothers Boat Company became influential in popularising pleasure boating. There were steamer trips along the Thames and punts built as leisure craft rather than working boats.
How long do you reckon there have been punts on this river?
And the punt itself is an ancient boat. Julius Caesar referred to the Latin ponto, which is where we get the words punt from, and they've been on the River Thames certainly since Saxon times and probably before, given that they were there in Roman times in Gaul. In terms of pleasure boats, that's a fairly recent innovation. Just over 100 years they've been very popular for leisure. Two design changes were important. One is the narrowing of the craft, which makes it a lot more manoeuvrable, and the other was the introduction of the saloon seating, which you're sitting in the middle, and that allowed 4 people to sit in the centre, and that actually made the pursuit a lot more of a sort of sociable pastime.
Punting was considered a suitable pastime for young ladies, including those from the university's women's colleges. By the Edwardian era, it was so popular there were 1,000 punts in Oxford.
They're not that easy to manoeuvre, really, are they?
If you're a beginner, actually, they can be quite difficult.
What's the trick?
I would say there's a couple of things. One is when you drop the pole, firstly to feel if it's muddy, it can be difficult to pull out and you can obviously lose your balance. And the other one is once you pushed off, to use the pole as a rudder behind you. So if you want to steer to the left, you just push it in the water that way, and if you do it to the right, you steer to the right.
Can I have a go?
You can indeed, absolutely.
Before I even get to the punting bit, there's the challenge of swapping ends. It seems one high and one low is the way to avoid a ducking.
Have you punted before?
Never punted before.
Not at all? Oh, wow.
I know, I look like a natural.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going down the river very efficiently, although sideways.
There's actually such a thing as punt racing. It evolved in the late 1800s from gentlemen betting on races between professional boatmen. To compete seriously, I'd need to work on techniques like body swing, arm drive and back shove.
I've got mixed feelings about my ability as a punter. On the one hand, we seem to be going fairly straight.
Absolutely.
Or at least following the course of the river. Oh, on the other hand, I got stuck in the tree. There you are, that explicitly demonstrated why I'm not the greatest punter in the world.
Still, it's a wonderful way to wind up my tranquil journey through the Upper Thames. But from here on, it's all change. Next time,
race pace.
The river gains momentum.
3. Oh my God. I did it!
And I discover how we tamed the Thames for trade and pleasure.
I could get used to this.